Welcome to Daily Dose Radio, a 5-minute devotional podcast studying the Psalms verse by verse. Broadcast from the ever-beautiful Sharonville, Ohio, on the sunny side of Cincinnati. Hey, welcome back to Daily Dose Radio. So glad you've come to join us today. This will bring to an end Psalm 64. We're going to look at verses 9 and 10 today. And as I said yesterday, the last of verse 8, I wanted to save it for today because here's the result. David began this psalm in verses 1 and 2, and he began praying, "Hear my voice, preserve my life, hide me from the secret counsel of the wicked." Because the wicked were the ones, the workers of iniquity were the ones that were plotting against him, speaking against him, plotting against his life. And then in verse 7, we have what I call the payoff. God answers. God shot an arrow at them. Now, they were shooting arrows with their mouths, and these were bitter words. Now God speaks his one word, and they're wounded. Suddenly, it says they're wounded. So David's prayer is, hear me, preserve me, hide me. And God did that because now the ones who were attacking him have been attacked, but not by David. They've been attacked by God, by the Lord himself. And so they're wounded. They turn on each other, which is what happens every time. When the wicked are wounded, they turn on one another. They always do. And then we have verse 8. All that see them shall flee away. Okay, so who's this all that see them? Well, what we have in verses 9 and 10 tell us about the all that see them. And I want you to notice the verbs here. We have several verbs that sort of build layers upon one another. And all these verbs are imperfect, which means they're future tense. And you'll see how they're translated here. All that see them shall flee. Okay, so there's our first future imperfect verb. They shall flee away. All right, so they're going to see something and they're going to run. What are they running from? Well, they're running from the counsel of these wicked folk. Maybe they were on the periphery of this group who was counseling and communing privately together to lay snares. Perhaps they were considering joining and attacking the righteous. Perhaps they were attracted by the power and the nobility and ability of the folks that were doing this work, but suddenly God shoots at them. And then they back away. The folks that are on the periphery back away. They're afraid now. They flee away because they don't want to be the target of God's judgment. Verse 9, and all men shall fear. All right, so here's our next future tense. All men shall fear. So this is everybody. All that see them shall flee. All men shall fear. What are they fearing? Well, now they're fearing God. You see, there in verse 4, they're shooting and they're not fearing. But now everybody who sees what happens to them, they're afraid because they know it's the hand of God. And shall declare the work of God. So here's the next or the third future verb. Okay, this is imperfect, so it's future. They shall declare the work of God. So when God acts, they flee. They're going to flee away. They're going to fear. And they're going to use their mouth for something good, which is declaring the work of God. So this is the work of God, that God is defending the man that prayed. God is answering the prayer of the man that prayed. And how's he doing it? He's doing it in a way which shows his hand at work and that he saw everything. So he shoots an arrow while they were shooting arrows. You see, they're suddenly wounded when they were trying to suddenly shoot at the perfect man. So all that see this are fearing and they're declaring the work of God. They shall wisely consider his doing, that is God's doing. The righteous shall be glad. Here's our perfect or imperfect verb again. Shall be glad in the Lord. So now we've gone from everybody to the righteous. They shall be glad. They shall trust in him. All the upright shall glory. So the last three there, those last three verbs, are what's going to happen because the righteous will also see this. And so now we've come up out of the den of the iniquity of the wicked man, and now we are with the righteous. And what are they doing? They're glad in the Lord, trusting in Him, glorying in His uprightness. Okay, join me again next week. We're going to look at Psalm 65 on Daily Dose Radio. Thanks for listening to Daily Dose Radio. I'm David Smith. The music today has been performed by the Bluegrass Experiment. Thanks again for listening. I'll see you next time on Daily Dose Radio.